Hello, you're listening to the Robot Wars History podcast where we chat the development of the show and the British robot combat scene in general by looking at key teams and bots. I'm your host Luke, and with me today is Nick
Hello, hello.
and Beav.
It's been so long since I've heard that intro. Hello, I am also here.
And today we will be covering the career of One Law Associates and Sting/S3.
Yep, we sure are. There's not really any kind of way to just go into this, so shall we just start with Sting? Because
I guess we have to. Yeah, we start in Series 2 where we saw the debut of Sting, and yeah, it's weird covering the early career of One Law Associates because S3 obviously takes up so much attention. You forget that there was an S1 and an S2, but yeah, they were around
well, I
pretty
mean, of
early
course,
on.
the show forgot, so
Yeah.
An S1 and an S2. Horrible names.
I hate that.
Yeah, so I mean, starting off with Series 2 Sting, just looking at the design first. Not a fan of this early one. It's very boxy. It's got that little tail on the end, but it just seems like a very desperate attempt at a theme.
Yeah, especially in a time where you just kind of gave a robot a name and just like that, like was its theme now. That's all you really needed to give a robot a theme.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's better than if they put on like a crap picture, like a crap clip art picture of a scorpion or whatever. But it's not great, is it?
Yeah, that is what would happen with 90%
Yeah.
of robots, you know. So they've actually made a functioning Sting in the tail here. It's not like, as you say, they've not like chucked Anne Robinson on the front and pretended to be the weakest link as the robot, have they? So credit there.
Although, of
Yeah.
course, we of course cannot forget it's random spikes on the.
Oh, every bot had spikes in Series 2, mate.
Yeah.
The Cassius. Wait, Cassius didn't, right? I'm actually not sure.
Oh, Cassius probably had some on the side, didn't it, for extra ramming?
Yeah, probably.
Everybody did.
So I mean, there's really nothing at all to say about Sting Series 2 then. It has just like a general lackluster gauntlet run, gets pitted by Dead Metal, and then it enters into a football where you've got Wizard, Groundhog, and Sting, and Sting manages to go out because it just doesn't move. It does not move.
My favorite thing about that, trial is, of course, the fact that, of course, Cassius, who is the obvious heat winner in this lineup, doesn't actually score the a first goal. And
Yeah, it's local, isn't
I
it?
found that. Yeah. Like Loco scores a first goal, and that is not how it's meant to go, lads. Like, come on.
It's quite telling of Series 2 that, Wheelosaurus died in the tug of war, and Sting dies in the football. So you're not exactly seeing the reliability there.
Can you imagine this lineup in the tug of war? Imagine that.
Mate, I don't want to.
I'm not sure Shunt would even have to drive. They might just drive in on their own.
Groundhog would literally drive over Shunt.
Alright, well, let's just move on to Series 3. I do like the look of Series 3 Sting. They've put a lot more effort into it. It's got that.
I like it too.
It's got those ribs on the front. The tail is actually
it's still got the armour, hasn't it? But
Yeah.
It's got some ribs as well. It's quite nice looking.
It's a very nice little glow up. It's. I mean, like it is kind of like when there is a new season of BattleBots, and of course all of the pictures get released, and of course you're just like, oh hey, that looks a lot better now, and it's just kind of the exact same feeling here with Sting 2 for me, honestly.
Yeah, though I guess half the time in BattleBots, people see a robot that looks visually better, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's going to win the giant nut this time." It's like, not quite, mate. Calm down.
Well, I mean, Sting looks like a much more. Sting looked like it had more potential in Series 3. That's a nice thing you can say about it.
Did it? It had its tail again.
I mean, looking at it, it just has one of those classic crap fights with Dietar where neither bot.
Oh, it's a really.
Both of them are just they're bumbling around the arena. they're just they're just wandering around.
Yeah, I mean, like you like listen to like a Jonathan in that fight, and like he is very clearly just like struggling to find something just to say about this fight.
Yeah, it's a mercy that Dietor gets the pitting, because I would hate to see this one go to the judges.
Yeah.
I really would.
I would just hate to see this fight in general, really.
If I could think of like a such typical Deator win, I think this would be it in the early series.
Yeah,
Like just a machine, it pushes about a little bit, gets a half decent pitting, and it's like, yeah, well done, Deator, solid mate, move on.
that sure happens.
So yeah, Sting falls from the series there, and you could they so obviously could have been one of those like Series 2 to 3 teams that make very little impact and just go. Never hear of them again.
Disappear.
Thankfully, they weren't. They came back in Series 5 with a very, very different bot, S3. And me and Dean were talking just before this call. S3, I think, is it's a unique design in robot combat. There's never really been anything quite like it.
Yeah, because of course, like I was saying, of course, like yes, there are a lot of verts now, which I mean, like you will, which of course, like you will know if you spend more than 5 seconds in this fandom, but of course, like S3 shape, you just don't see anything like it, and I don't think I ever have seen anything like it in like any other shows since.
No. And it was a solid idea to go with because, they wanted to make it work both ways up as equally effective as it could do. And
Yeah.
no, it was. Can you imagine if this thing was in Series 4 line? Like, it was really good in Series 5, but pre-weight increase, oh my.
To be fair, it probably would have. To be fair, it probably wouldn't.
Well,
have
you've
been
got to shave off at least you got to shave off at least
Yeah.
20 kilos. So where do you want to take
I
that
don't know.
from?
The S3's armor looks thick without being thick at all. So, probably make it as thin as possible. Just chuck it all in the weaponry.
S3 gets a perfect starting fight against Thunderbird, which is a name that people know. Not exactly a name you can brag about beating, but it's a name people know, and it's very flimsy. Yeah, the main the main takeaway I had from this fight is S3 seems like an absolute bastard to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, like it probably wouldn't have like that bad of a gyro situation, but yeah, but I mean, like, even ignoring that, yeah, it does look like a massive bastard.
Yeah, 'cause you just got the two wheels right on the end. It's incredibly wide. You've got you've got the mass of the bot just sticking out like that. Yeah, I can't imagine they had any fun trying to maneuver that thing around the arena. But they didn't really have any difficulty doing. They didn't really have any difficulty dispatching Thunderbird here. I think it's literally on the second shot they land, Thunderbird is knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, like they clearly are like practice driving, which doesn't seem like that many teams do when you actually watch the shows.
Can you imagine if they still did in Series 5, like gauntlet qualification rounds? So to get into the show, you had to be
the ramp.
to qualify for the show, you had to be good at the gauntlet, and S3 would be just bumbling around the bricks or something, get high centered on the car door or something like that.
Oh, I hate that.
But
No,
that's
that,
what
that
happens
thing
when you
could
have
not
to.
go up the ramp. It couldn't go past the sentinel. That thing is doomed.
Well, I mean, that's what happens though, isn't it? The natural evolution from Daisy Chopper, and here you are.
Yeah, it's a pioneer. What can I say?
Yeah, it makes you appreciate just how difficult Kadena Machina was to control, anyway.
But yeah, something that of course stuck out to me in this fight. Everyone in the show seems absolutely certain that of course this team was a newcomer. They were not.
Jonathan Pierce does mention in the intro that they had bots before. I mean, honestly, what does what does it serve you if you're producing Robot Wars to draw attention to this bot's predecessors? Because none of the audience is going to remember. Very, very few of them are going to remember. So just sweep that under the rug.
You say that, mate, but of course, like when the wiki exists, I imagine there were, of course, like already some people who knew very well exactly who Sting was.
Yeah, they will, but the 10-year-olds watching at home won't.
Well,
Oh
maybe it's
yeah,
good to know, you know.
we are here to learn.
Very true. Thank you. But
And
yeah,
then S3 goes from a very gimme fight to a fight that shouldn't be competitive at all, but it was. Yeah, because it goes up against Mousetrap, and Mousetrap was, I think, the crappiest of the Series 4 semi-finalists pretty safely.
The
Had a very
crappiest.
easy, yeah, it had a very lame heat, and it just wasn't an optimal weapon type at all. But this turns out to be more competitive a fight than it has any right to be.
yeah. So of course, no, Mousetrap swings its blade into S3, and then nothing happens for about.
Oh, plenty happens. They sink the blade in. They take them over to the house robots. Um, the spring acts as entanglement.
Yeah,
Hashtag mousetrap cheated.
it's a very good fight, but you can't help imagine that if they had a rematch, that Mousetrap would just get absolutely mullered because half of the
Yeah.
stuff it did in this one was just
Well, it's
pay for time. It was just entangled itself, took ages to untangle itself, and JP acted like Mousetrap was going to win through that alone. It's like, mate, they're just stuck together. Calm down.
Yeah, but Nick had almost cut the aerial.
Yes, I do apologise, and they also cut the Mousetrap spring, so
just imagine that. Christ.
I don't want to imagine
It's
that.
one of those. I mean, the thing is, Mousetrap to score points here has to be like at 100% throughout the fight. It has to keep maximum pressure on S3. Whereas
yeah.
S3 scores huge points whenever it just manages to get the weapon to make contact with Mousetrap. Because Mousetrap isn't that well armored. I mean, the top is made of wood for Christ's sake, and there's a lot of it missing by the end of the fight. So, yeah, short of a pitting or like sniping the or clipping the aerial, it was always going to be an S3 victory.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you think about it, it's. I mean, of course, no, it's just a bit of foreshadowing for, of course, what robot combat will be in the future. And now I've made that fight sad.
Mate, I think we just
I don't
gotta.
remember I don't remember all the overhead blade like long axes in classic robot combat. So I'm not sure about that.
I think the saddest thing here is that we were truly robbed of a Stinger Mousetrap rematch. What a fight that would have been.
Oh Jesus.
You have very odd priorities.
Yeah, mate. 5.5 out of 10 fight first time around. Come on.
Yeah, that one's at 297 on the top on the ultimate countdown. Speaking of Stinger, of course, we get to the grand final where S3 fights number 5 seed and grand finalist Stinger.
Hey guys, it's Sting 3 versus Stinger.
Hey, Stinger is kind of an annoying opponent for S3 because it's not a bot that's going to show any visible damage, so it's hard to tell when you're actually landing effectively on it. But Stinger was always Stinger is a complete one. It's the total definition of a one series wonder. Really, it was always pretty lacking afterwards, and there was S3 with its rounded body and very few flat sides to hit. Stinger was always going to struggle immensely against something like this.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a counter pick, really, for Stinger. I play too many fighting games. But yeah, like S3 just like hits like a stinger, and then stinger just kind of conks out. And I mean, of course, like stinger has some very, very obvious targets if you are a spinner. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's the win.
hit the wheels. Try not to hit the mace because that won't do any good.
Yep. Yeah, like, and I mean, like, you're not gonna hit the like a mace because that's just not gonna really do much at all apart from just make it just kind of flick up a bit.
Yeah, that heat finals a very the I actually thought it was a pretty good fight for the first 40 odd seconds, but then Stinger just died, which is a shame because it then came back to life, which
Yeah.
was even more annoying. But it could have been a really like half decent judge's decision, like Stinger v 13 Black was in Series 6. But instead, it just died.
So after beating Stinger, S3 moves into the semi-finals and they get their first fight with Big Brother. And for a fight that's about like 20 seconds long, it's pretty fun. It's very nervy for Bigger Brother because you can tell they're so anxious to get S3 out the arena, in the pit or something. S3 because it's a dodgy bot to move and it's pretty slow. It doesn't really. It's all Bigger Brother It's all Bigger Brother pushing the fight, but the threat of S3's disc is always there.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and of course, like considering S3 shape, of course, like it should be easy to control for a flipper. Like, if you think about it, because there's a lot of space where you could just get around and just flip it up onto one side, and that's it pretty much. And it's pretty much neutralized. So I mean, really, S3 is lucky that it of course like didn't get thrown out of the arena. But of course, interestingly, of course, like just before it goes down the pit, something I noticed is of course a bigger brother almost pit themselves as well, and it does kind of make me wonder like what kind of alternate universe could we have seen if that happened.
Oh, I don't want that because that gives us S3 versus Chaos 2,
That
which
would
would
have
have
been
been
very
incredibly
sad.
sad.
Oh dear.
Um, yeah,
And S3 would have been.
you would have got S. I mean, you would have got S3 versus Hypnodisc.
S3 versus Hypnodisc would have been pretty cool, I have to admit.
I have to imagine, given how, given how slow and awkward S3 is, I imagine Hypnodisc would have an easy time just ripping off
Yeah,
the
but I
wheel and
just
chilling out.
horizontal versus vertical matches because I think they're cool, even in 2001.
Oh, it's all about Fluffy V259, mate.
Damn straight, my dude.
It's all about Typhoon versus the small 259.
Oh, hell yeah. Uh,
The small 259.
That's what it was. I think it was literally just called 259. So
It was, as opposed to like 259, 259 large for the heavyweight.
should have called it 258.
258.
Big boy 259.
yeah. So after losing to bigger brother, it then moves. Well, I mean, it moves on, but it also moves down to the losers melee, which
Yeah.
is a fun little fight.
Oh, it's a great fight.
Classic Series 5 fight that was edited too short.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in classic Series 5 fashion, Spawn again randomly died. But hey.
It's more a classic, like a spawn again fashion, really.
Spawnigan is a non-entity, but getting the KO on, but S3 does get a KO on it, which probably added substantially to their scorecard here.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, this is just another classic case of how damage is the most important thing, because for what we see of the fight, which isn't enough, I guess we had to see every single second of Razer crushing in on bloody S3, or every single second of Spawn again getting pushed into the pit, Wild Thing is very much in control of this fight. But the thing is, whenever Wild Thing gets close to that disc, it's just taking massive, massive amounts of damage.
Oh, I love those hits where Wild Thing just absolutely gets spiraled over by S3. Oh,
Oh
gorgeous.
yeah, I do love those like kind of hits. They are always very pleasing.
Yeah, the fight's a weird one because it's hard to judge who actually won it. So you can't really be frustrated either way at who actually came out as the winner. But at the same time, you want to know who could. How can you make a good call on who deserved the second round semi-final spot?
Yeah, like that is the thing about classic Robot Wars. Of course, like when it's so heavily edited down, you just can't really make a good call on
Yeah,
the
I mean,
fight.
true,
So,
though seeing the full thing for the current battle bots doesn't exactly clear it up either, does it?
true.
I think I tend to think that even if this had been a one-on-one S3 versus Wild Thing, S3 probably still would have gotten the nod.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can believe that, honestly.
Just because of how grievous the damage it does inflict is. Like the wedge of Wild Thing is an absolute state by the end.
Yeah, that's the thing. Wild Thing's wedge can always take massive hits, but it always looks warped as a result. Like it never a panel will never fly off, but it still gets absolutely carved up.
Yeah, once you add in that they technically did knock out the other bot in the ring, even if that other bot is spawn again, it's a pretty uncontroversial result.
Yeah, I can agree.
And then we go from an exciting match to a very, very dull match in S3 versus Razer. And S3 may as well have been custom made for Razer. They've got these big open sides for them to slip under, and they are never going to successfully maneuver away from Razer. No chance. And unfortunately, when Razer gets the crush in, it gets stuck.
And oh boy, does it get stuck. Well, the entire 5 minutes, was it in series 5? It was 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for the
I mean,
entire 5
they get them
minutes.
free eventually, but
Yeah, and then of course Rachel just goes straight back
they
in,
get
right?
them. Well, yeah. What else are you going to do with
True.
your Razer?
I think as good as this semi-final is, I think the problem is you were always going to have a dud fight in round 2 because you're either going to have to like bin off Chaos 2 against S3, which would have just been sad, and then S3 would have had a dud grand final fight, or you get Razer v S3, which wasn't very good itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of entertaining Razer versus the losers melee potential, maybe Razer versus Wild Thing could have been interesting, but you're always going to struggle. Yeah, the fun thing about this is, of course, after Razer was done with S3, they exploded into flames backstage, which I'm sure gave Menton's health and safety the shivers big time. Yeah, there's not really anything to say about it. It's just Razer chomping on a bot that was never going to have anything more than a spinner's chance, let's call it, of taking them out.
Yeah, like it's a very it's just a like foregone conclusion really, and that's the best thing. And that just sums this fight up. But like S3's entire campaign, it's a damn good one.
I'm willing to call it a rookie campaign, and as a rookie campaign, it's pretty goddamn
You couldn't
good.
do much better, to be honest, unless you're Typhoon 2, I guess.
Technically, all the bots in technically all the top bots in Series
True,
8, apart
true.
from I guess 4, were rookies. They had pretty good rookie campaigns. Roadblock was a rookie.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah, so was Panic Attack. Yeah, you know what? You probably can do quite a bit,
But it
like
was
a better than
still pretty good.
S3. You're slacking.
So we move on to Series 6. S3 is pretty much unchanged. And it starts off with a melee where S3 could beat all of these robots at once.
And yet it still nearly loses because it can't get away from the arena wall at one point.
Mate, alright, so we look at the first 30 seconds of this fight. It rips off one of Shredder's discs. it immobilizes Rhubarb and Rexy Arena Wall, and then it just spends the rest of the fight in the CPZ getting bashed by Mr. Psycho. It's so silly.
Yeah, every like 5 seconds, the camera angle just changes back to Psycho hitting S3 on the back. And it's like, hey, Armadillo, if you want to get through, can you actually move? Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
And it's not even Psycho does not hit hard at all, but it just keeps on bonking it for like 3 goddamn minutes in the corner.
Yeah, and also, Armadillo has a very exciting moment.
Oh, yes, it does. Fantastic. Getting out of slow motion to slightly below average motion.
Oh, you absolutely love to see it. It's so dumb. But yeah, S3 moves on in that fight. Unless it's...
Imagine how mad Mentor would have been if Psycho had actually knocked out S3.
Oh, I would have
Because they
loved
did,
that.
because they like wrecked a gearbox. They like compacted a battery. Imagine if Psycho had knocked out S3 and it's like a Mentor like, okay, so we have to send Armadillo, the Alien, Shredder, and Sir Chromalot through to decide the winner of this heat.
We're
Jesus
just not
Christ.
going to wear this one. Yeah, I mean, like,
Just sub Chaos 2 back in at that point.
hey, Atomic,
No.
do you guys want in?
So we get S3's next opponent is Sir Chromalot, and this is a fun fight because Sir Chromalot has literally one way to win, and it's getting S3 in the pit, and they know it, and so they spend this entire fight just hanging by the pit, begging S3's long ass to drive itself in.
Honestly, I am so surprised that, of course, like, no, that, of course, like, this, a tactic was just never done just like any other time, because it's a very legitimate tactic and no one ever actually did it apart from this fight. And you think that, like, more people would actually do it, but
I mean,
they
true,
didn't.
but if anybody but Chromalot did the tactic, then everyone would probably hate on them, so it's one of those.
Yeah, but it would also be really funny.
Like, can you imagine if, like, I don't know, can you imagine if, like, Subversion tricked, I don't know, Typhoon 2 into the pit or something?
Mate, that would have been incredible.
I don't think they'd get in. Well, I mean, if I don't know, if like trying to think, something stupid. If like Medusa 2000 pulled this off on Chaos 2, I don't think they'd get an invite back next year.
Medusa 2.
Oh no, like that is well, like, I don't know if that's a blessed idea or if it's very, very cursed. Like,
Robot Wars
I
fantasy series, but every robot loses because the worst opponent tricks them into the pit.
oh, I love that.
Be the next one on the wiki, lads.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, S3 kind of just keeps on getting like it gets like 5 hits in, and on the 5th one, Sir Chromalot stops self-righting, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be once they start hitting.
Another couple of trademark S3 hits in there though. Those lovely spiraling side shots.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ooh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then we move on to S3 versus Shredder. And I'm going to go on a little Shredder rant here. I think I already did this in Steel Avenger, but it bears repeating. Compare the damage absorbed by Shredder here, where it gets it gets its entire frame warped and gets counted out because its frame is so warped its wheels can no longer touch the floor on the flame pit. And then when it gets moved, it starts driving again. Compare that to getting one-shotted by Steel Avenger. Okay, thanks. I just had to say that again.
Oh, good. Oh, you'd really love to see it. Actually, no. You know what? I don't love to see it. 'Cause that sucks. Holy shit, guys.
But no, this is just a clear example. One big weapon is always better than 2 small weapons.
Yeah, it really is.
Mate, I don't know about you, but
Shredder
Hypnodisc with 2 mini flywheels, that would have been devastating.
What about 4?
Firestorm with 2 front-hinged flippers. Let's go.
Yeah, Shredder with 2. Oh wait. But yeah, Shredder just gets completely destroyed in this fight. It just cannot fight back.
It's the friggin' Black Knight from Monty Python. Like S3 is just doing S3 is like it disables both their weapons. It tears off the wheel guard. It completely warps the frame. And like I said, once Shredder is counted out and moved, it just keeps on trucking until it finally backs into the pit.
Yeah, and Killalot
Because
nearly
of course
goes in
they
the
have
pit
to.
as well.
Love that. But yeah, like, it's just because yeah, like I always felt that of course like S3 was a very just like underappreciated a big name compared to literally everyone else in these shows. So I mean, like like fights like this, it just makes you think like why did it never get the same amount of press that literally everyone else did?
It's probably because they didn't have any
Can
success pre-weight increase, and then when they come in here in the post-weight increase,
No.
they're good, but they still haven't had enough series to build up momentum. They weren't in Extreme as well.
Yes, but of course then like no, you go and see say Danton Kier and of course like that gets a lot more press. So don't know if
It's
that
because they
checks
beat
out really.
Chaos 2, isn't it?
Because they got Ooters.
Ooters beat
I
Chaos
guess.
2.
Well, they got Ooters. They
Yeah, but man, S3 beat Stinger.
beating Stinger after Series 4, though.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. AJ could have been the next mini-bot.
Now we're talking. Love AJ.
So yeah, S3 earns its way into another semi-final. And speaking of Danton Kia, it faces Danton Kia, and we have a very awkward fight. Danton Kia can get under S3, and the kind of shape of Danton Kia means when it's head-on, there's nothing for S3 to hit. But Danton Kia wedges itself under an angle grinder, and it's all she
And
wrote.
then the link comes out.
Oh, the Robot Wars favourite.
Oh, I fucking hate links when this kind of thing. Well, actually, no, I just hate links in general.
We love to see it happen. Yeah, I mean it's weird because even before they wedge under the angle grinder, Danton Kia doesn't look like it wants to do anything to S3.
Yeah, it
It
kind of
doesn't
just
flick
nervously
once.
bundles it around a little bit.
So I guess we can just move on to the Firestorm fight. Firestorm's
It is exactly what you would expect it to be.
Firestorm on its face isn't a very good matchup for S3 given the shape, but once it gets it to the wall, S3's shape kind of works against it because it's this big long thing with a very prominent front, which probably holds most of the mass. And once Firestorm flips it, it kind of gets ooted by gravity.
No, it doesn't, mate. Gravity's in the a next series. Don't be silly. I'm so funny.
I'm laughing. Oh, that's funny. That's
Solid
really
joke,
funny.
mate. 4.5 out of 10.
I'm so proud of myself.
And then we get the last sad fight in Extreme 2, where S3 comes equipped with the anti-flicker plate. I really don't like these things. Like, aesthetically, it looks like S3's just got a big Jay Leno chin.
Yeah, and it also proves to be completely useless,
Okay.
doesn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
the anti-flipper wedges get a bit too much hate. They were about to fall back over, and then Bigger Brother just charges them to the arena wall and flips them out.
Well, I mean, of course, like, what doesn't help?
Well, yeah, that's
Oh,
the
yeah,
thing.
sorry, go on.
We get one S3 fight, and it's against Firestorm and Bigger Brother, both bots who have beat S3 before and have every incentive to get them out.
Yeah, like,
What do you
S3
know
didn't
happens?
stand a chance.
They get neutered.
It's
Yeah, and
it's
then
a
after
very
the
sad ending for them.
after the upgrades didn't work, that's it. The team have had enough. Too much for them.
Yeah, they aren't in Series
Yeah.
7.
Oh, that S3 in Series 7 would have been great. Oh, would have loved that.
I mean, if they had been in Series 7, I guess they'd probably take down Tom Kia's place, so that would have put them against like IG88.
Oh, that would have
God
been
knows
a
how that
great
would
heat
go.
for them. I would have loved to see that.
Oh, yes.
I can't even. I genuinely can't think of how that goes.
Yeah, like it's
Oh,
a
I
really
think
good
they win
toss up.
that.
I'd be so down for that. Oh, that just makes me
Two
sad.
votes. Yeah.
Sad even. Not sad.
But no, that is the last we see of S3 and One More Associates in general. Sting and obviously S3 Cat couldn't compete afterwards in the live events, and so I think it and Sting just ended up in a museum somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the wiki right now. Actually,
That's all she wrote.
yes. Yes, it is currently yes, it is currently on display at the National Design and Technology Education Center, but I don't actually know where that is.
We'll find it. We'll track it down. Fund our trip to find S3.
Yeah. I mean, like, no, that's right. On our yeah, on our new a vlog, coming soon.
The Robot Wars History Vlogcast.
Viewers, if you want to meet in person I don't know, it was like probably 31st most iconic bot in Robot Wars history, or wherever it ended up on that list.
Somewhere, yeah, I can't remember.
Right, lads, it's in Banbury. It is in Banbury. There we go.
Oh, we can go see Hypnodisc while we're at it as well
Where the
then.
hell is Banbury?
It's near to Oxford.
Yeah, it's where
nearest to Oxford.
Hypnodisc is at. I don't want to hear any of that Where's Banbury nonsense if you're a Robot Wars fan. Come
Oh,
on.
Luke,
Alright,
such slander.
big Banbury fan over here, I guess.
The big Banbury boys.
So, big Banbury boys, Jesus. So, what's everyone's favourite S3 fight?
For me, it probably has to be versus Mousetrap.
Yeah, I'd like if the losers melee had even a bit more footage of S3 and Wildfin going at it. I might say that, but yeah, I think it has to be versus Mousetrap.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go with the Plunderbird fight just because it's S3 truly wrecking somebody. But the other two fights mentioned are also very strong candidates, probably the standouts.
So that just kind of wraps it all up, really, doesn't it? That was S3. It was a pretty good robot, but it just went very ignored.
You'll never get ignored on the Robot Wars History podcast, mate.
No,
Unless you're Onslaught for 2 years.
Very true.
Sorry,
very
Onslaught.
nobody leaves S3 in a corner. Yeah, so that's it for today. I'm your host Luke, and joining me has been Nick and Beav, and for me it's goodbye.
Yeah, and from me it's also goodbye. Crazy.